Many of us are struggling in the face of such uncertain times. The fundamental truth of life is that it is uncertain and impermanent. I have a restless cat. We want things to stay the same. We want stability. We orient our lives so that things seem to stay the same and seem to remain stable. But something always seems to go wrong. The relationship ends. We change jobs or lose our job. Then we pick up the pieces and put them back together and try to create stability again. We may freak out, lash out, or get depressed. And we medicate ourselves in a million different ways. And we try to create certainty again. Certainty, stability, sameness are all illusory. And what that means is that as soon as the conditions change, the illusion disappears. That appearance disappears. And this is just the scenery of life. And this is what we are experiencing now. From last week to now, our lives have changed considerably. And a week from now, our lives will change that much more. And how this will look is completely unknown. We are seeing that what we take for granted, what we consider to be solid and stable, all of this is changing and illusory. We are experiencing groundlessness. We are watching this unfold in real time and very viscerally, and this can be unsettling, triggering, and traumatic. And the experience is different for every one of us. I can't tell anybody what they should do. I can, however, share methods that have helped me work with the uncertainty of my own life over the years. As many of you know, I was a Tibetan Buddhist monk for 11 years. I completed what is called the traditional 3-year retreat, where I was locked up, essentially, with 5 other monks for 3.5 years. Most of that was in silence. I essentially sat alone in my room for 3.5 years. And I learned that my sanity depended on learning to meditate. Meditation is not about tuning out or shutting off one's thoughts. It is not a vacation from reality. To look at it like this is a misunderstanding. Many come to meditation practice with some expectation that they will stop their thoughts. But it's impossible to shut off one's mind. Rather, meditation is about learning to be present with one's experience, whatever that experience may be. Pleasant, unpleasant, blissful, horrible, happy, bored, restless, whatever. In meditation, we learn how we get stuck in our thoughts, emotions, feelings, memories. We learn methods that allow us to let go and reconnect with an aspect of our minds that remains spacious, workable, and unfixated. So in meditation we learn to show up, and now's the time where we must learn to show up for ourselves and for others. We learn to return to the present again and again, endlessly. A session of meditation should have 3 components. The first component is setting your intention or your motivation. The second component is the actual practice. And the third component is dedication, where you dedicate your practice so that you realize the intention or motivation that you set at the beginning. And so your intention may be, may I be able to face this? May I have freedom of mind? May I not freak out? Traditionally, in the Buddhist tradition, one's intention might be something like, may I achieve Buddhahood in order to be able to benefit sentient beings. And so you spend a couple of minutes thinking about your intention, and this orients your mind. Traditionally, this is done by chanting prayers while reflecting on their meaning. I will chant prayers in Tibetan, and while I chant, you can think about your motivation. Palden sawe la morin boje dagichi wo pede denchula kajan chambo gone jesun te kosun to jingo ju sadu so da namke tada nyambe senjen tamche de ne son de jise janche ni bola chichin para du Palden lama da banana chasu ji yedan chaka jila sonana chasu ji sanje chanda ne nana chasu ji dambe chana chasu ji Papagana nana chasu ji pao kandro churchan sumezo yeshi chi chandan de banana chasu ji Palden lama da banana chasu ji yedan chaka jila sonana chasu ji Sanjay chana ne nana chasu ji dambe chana chasu ji Papagana nana chasu ji pao kandro churchan sumezo yeshi chi chandan de banana chasu ji Palden lama da banana chasu ji yedan chaka jila sonana chasu ji Sanjay chana ne nana chasu ji dambe chana chasu ji Papagana nana chasu ji pao kandro churchan sumezo yeshi chi chandan de banana chasu ji Sanjay Chodan Soji Chonan La Janju Badu Dangi Chatsuchi, Dagi Jinsuji Be Sonanji, Joda Pense Sanjay Drupashu, Sanjay Chodan Soji Chonan La Janju Badu Dangi Chatsuchi, Dagi Jinsuji Be Sonanji, Joda Pense Sanjay Drupashu, Sanjay Chodan Soji Chonan La Janju Badu Dangi Chatsuchi, Dagi Jinsuji Be Sonanji, Joda Pense Sanjay Drupashu. Senchen tamje dewa dan dewe jedan depar juju donga dan donga juju dan drawo juju donga mepe dewa dan pa dan drawo juju nyeren chanda nye dan drawo tanyan chenpa la nye pa juju. And so I'm going to give meditation instructions, a simple meditation on the breath. And so you sit up straight. And you bring your mind, you bring your intention, your attention, your awareness to your breathing. With emphasis on the out-breath. You're resting your mind on the out-breath. Your awareness is with the out-breath as it dissolves into space. There's a sense of letting go at the end of each out-breath. The in-breath takes care of itself. And then you're with the out-breath, letting go at the end of each out-breath. To build upon that a little bit, we count the cycles of the breath. So we're going to count 10 out-breaths, and you count with your mind. So the first out-breath is 1, and then 2, 3, and so forth. and you're counting with your mind. You're paying attention with your mind. And you're listening to your own mind, the sound of each number. Right? And so you're definitely going to recognize at some point that you get lost to thought. Right? You're going to go someplace else. You're not going to be meditating anymore. But you'll have this moment of waking up where you're like, oh, what am I doing? Right? You'll recognize that you've been lost to thought. In that moment, you pause, and with your mind, you say to yourself, thinking. So regardless of the content of the thought, regardless of how important it seems to be, right? It's just thinking. So what we're learning to recognize is that thoughts are just thoughts. You might recognize that your mind is panicky, so you could just label that panic, or anxiety, or fear. And then we return to the out-breath and the counting. And we're probably going to have to start with 1 again. And that's completely okay. So we can meditate like this for a few moments. Okay. I just counted 10 breaths. You can meditate for as long or as brief as you like, but I would recommend that if you're a beginner at meditation, that you keep your sessions short, right? Count 10 breaths, take a break, then sit, count 10 breaths more, right? Break it up, and you stop meditating while your mind is still fresh. Don't try to meditate for too long, or you'll just get frustrated, fatigued, and then you won't want to meditate, right? Start small. We take baby steps. And so the following dedication, I am quoting from a great contemporary American Zen teacher, Joan Halifax, from her book, Being with Dying. And this dedication goes like this. When we have completed our meditation practice, we offer to others whatever good has arisen for us. We also remind ourselves to bring the spirit of practice into our everyday life in order to be of benefit to ourselves and to others. I want to add, may we realize freedom of mind. May we be able to show up and be present for ourselves, for others, and our shared experiences as they unfold. I'll be posting pretty regularly, and when I'm set up, I will be doing guided meditations live. You are always welcome to reach out to me if you have questions or for any reason. And so, be well.